great point. We've seen, municipalities allow sort of double wide entrance to such a development with a like a boulevard entrance with curb islands in the middle. So it's not really one way in, one way out.
Is that what you're proposing here?
No, we could examine that. That's part of it.
Cause I know the fire company, they would look at that and say, the two trucks are, when they come in there to fight a fire, they're gonna have both lanes closed. You're not gonna have a designated lane for traffic to go through while you're fighting the fire.
On the other hand, such a building probably would have sprinklers.
If I may, I'll jump in on Fritz's. You have public road from Conewago to the cul-de-sac, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then why do you have private road for the, I'll call it the circle?
So the first plan, this is the second plan, but let me see, the first plan showed a cul-de-sac even further into the development.
Okay, all the way back through the end?
Yes, and the feedback we received from township staff was maybe a hybrid approach should be preferred by the township with less public road, less public maintenance, and then you could have some sort of looping access drive to access the other.
Okay. But why a private road only 24 feet wide?
Well, it's really a driveway, it's not, I don't,
Okay.
we're talking semantics, I don't, it's just it would be a privately owned way. I don't know, not laid out to street standards, if that's the case.
Well, that's never gonna pass. In my book, I'll vote that down 100 times. One reason exactly, are you gonna allow access, parking on the street?
Well, we meet the parking requirements met for the buildings, garages, and driveways.
Okay, are you gonna post no parking along the street?
We never had that discussion.
Okay, if you don't, we won't get a fire truck in there. If you have a car on each side of the road, 3H is 24. People don't hug the curb. So, I believe, and I'll make the comment and you can respond accordingly, I believe you made it private 24 feet because you don't have the room to make a 50-foot road of that circle, because that pushes everything back against the setback.
There is room to run a 50-foot cul-de-sac road further into the site.
Further or all the way around?
No, it would be cul-de-sac, it would be 50 feet right away in with a bulb at the end, with a similar number of lanes. There is no, you are correct in that you cannot make the minimum curb radii meeting the public street standard.
Well, I'm not opposed to the cul-de-sac up there where it is, okay? But the circle, that should definitely be, standard 50-foot roads. And I agree with Fritz that between the two buildings on the east side, assuming east is to the left of the drawing, it is, I think, there could be access to Kentwell for another entrance. And I'm sure that developer would love to discuss that. I'll stop now. Do you guys have any other questions?
If I may, my client.
Yeah, sure.
Your
Your name again?
Naomi Brown.
Naomi Brown. Larry?
Township. We live in the township.
I do not, no, I live in East Hampton. My address,
I'll need your address then.
710, or do you want it now?
Okay.
It's on the plan.
Oh, okay.
Not the present time,
No.
Brandon?
I stated to Bethany, as soon as I got the plans, I'm not thrilled with not seeing a second road entrance, second
Yeah.
entrance. I don't see Jim, having that many feet,
Give us a moment here to think, but,
Daryl,
pardon?
you want me to jump in?
Yes, if you would, sure.
I'll read the plan. You guys have hit on the major ones, but, you know, basically to drive it home, yes, you've identified that there is a waiver that we need for the cul-de-sac. The private streets are an issue. Like you label it as access drives, it in any way defined in our ordinance, it's still a street, even if it's a private street. The ordinance requires it to be built to public street standards. And again, in this situation where my concern lies is parking is brought up. We have multiple developments in the township, I'm listing Greenbrier Estates, Stonegate, Bennett Run, Locust Run, and then right behind you, you have the Enclave, which is actually a great example on Conewago Drive for how a development like this fits into the township. I understand that the ordinance only requires 2 off-street parking spaces per unit, so assuming you have one spot in the driveway and you have a 200 square foot garage in each one of these units. So the reality is, what we see on Kentwell is people have way more than 2 cars. And they also have visitors. So that street is wide enough for parking on both sides, and it's parked full pretty well throughout the whole development. So I can't see a reasonable approach here to make that road only 24 feet, because you need that parking on both sides, especially if you're not going to provide some sort of accessory lot, which we also have in multiple, multifamily dwellings throughout the township. There's an accessory lot built to serve visitors and overflow and the like. So, again, I'm just looking at this as a loop road, that's gonna be a nightmare, to get in and out of there. The other thing I saw on your plan is, I saw a waiver of sidewalk. There's no precedent for that. Your plan is not proposing sidewalk, and it discusses that the sidewalk is not proposed to reduce impervious area.
I just think it's not shown, right?
No, there's a note on the plan that says we're not proposing sidewalk because it adds impervious.
No, I think it says
Definitely
impervious.
make that up.
No sidewalks are depicted which will add impervious surfaces. To me, that means if you're going to.
Okay,
Yeah.
I apologize, I misunderstood that. I thought you weren't adding them to not add to the impervious area, is how I interpreted that.
I don't think you can get away with that.
That was my point of my comment tonight. I wanna make sure that you're planning on sidewalks, just because there's no precedent anywhere in the township to do it, so. You know, obviously that prevents, what I'm concerned about is, once you lay sidewalk in there, not only, you know, where your minimum width is on your road, you start laying sidewalks in, that's gonna start chewing into your driveway, and your driveways aren't deep enough then for parking. Because your driveways are only about 22, 23 feet deep. You put a 4-foot sidewalk in front of it.
That's sort of by design, because in the village zoning district, it's supposed to be 25 feet from the street.
The homes, yeah.
So by definition, and the township amended the ordinance recently to go from 15 max to 25 max, recognizing that 15 is not enough for parking.
Sure.
So, like, if the buildings truly need to be within 25 feet of the street line, they're 3 on the street. It seems like we're only gonna have.
You're only gonna be about you're gonna be 18, 19 deep, but then you have to have your width. The ordinance says 200 square feet for a parking space. So that's what I would advise you, as you kind of work this in, is you have to factor where the sidewalk is and then how much driveway is left. And I also need to, I would need to look a little closer. I can't remember if there's anything that restricts spaces as stacking on each other. Cause driveway isn't gonna be wide enough to get a car past the parked car in the driveway into the garage.
I didn't see anything about tandem parking being.
Right. Well, it's restricted everywhere else in off-street parking and off-street parking in design. So, something we would have to look at. I'm not making a hard line here tonight, but, you know, if your driveway and your garage are meeting your two spaces and you can't get to one without moving a car, you just need to get a legal interpretation on that from the solicitor.
Anything else, Gary?
Those are my main concerns, is just the width of the street not meeting our specs, and it clearly states in there that even if private drives are approved, which that would have to be a special approval by the supervisors, they would need to meet our specs, so that would be a waiver to not meet our width, but ultimately, again, I'm just concerned about the narrow streets and the density and the lack of parking. I understand what the ordinance minimum requirements are, but drive around to the township and some of these other multifamily developments and just experience what they look like right now. And we need to provide for, you know, basically a reasonable community. So generally it includes a wider street and some extra parking, or else I don't see a lot of benefit from the township to give concessions on any of the ways we're asking for.
Okay.
Yep.
Mike, I have another question. You show a pump station. Can you explain that, please?
The site is generally below Conewago Road. It just doesn't, we haven't done an engineering, but it seems like the sewage would have to be pumped up to the main Conewago Road, which is not that. I mean, it's really just a placeholder to not put houses there, so it might be easy, property easy. There's been no design, very preliminary discussions with the authority. Well, it seemed like they had staggered availability, they had some, but they can't tell us what to have until we submit something.
Did you
That was the other thing.
discuss any depth of the sewer system on Copenhagen with the sewer authority?
We have the maps.
Okay,
It's
did
not
you
that
notice that it's quite deep?
It's not that deep. It's not that deep.
Okay. That section out there. The section out in here is the deepest in the whole system. Okay.
We may be able to reach it, I just. we
So
didn't see it.
your proposal would be to gravity flow everything to that pump station and then
Okay.
pump it up to Copenhagen?
Yeah, maybe
Fine.
we can just drain all the coconut, that'd be great. First blush, it can seem like that, but
We wouldn't go the other way through Conewago Drive.
well, that would involve other private parties. We have to have this discussion.
Well, if you get access through there, it might help.
That's both.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that pump station would stay private, or you turn it over to the sewer authority? You don't know? Okay, any other thoughts? Anybody? Okay, one other thing, go ahead, Jamie.
I see 10 buildings, correct?
That's it.
How many total dwellings are within those 10 buildings?
Of total units,
Total units.
76.
Okay, so if I'm correct, Freedom Square is already approved, they're already starting. Right now, they're maxed at 167 units because of the sewer authority. Okay, so they already have their approval first, right? So, in my opinion, they should be able to continue and finish their entire project because they're actually supposed to be building 500 plus, if I remember correctly. How would we possibly give them an approval for this 76 units when they don't even have enough sewer authority space, I'll call it,
EDUs,
EDUs.
equivalent dwelling units, EDUs.
Okay, they don't have enough EDUs to finish one project and we're already looking at another one. My suggestion would be, because the sewer authority is going to, enlarge their building by 1.5 times, we found somebody to foot the bill.
Yeah,
You wanna build the project? Pay for the dwelling, or the sewer authority. It makes sense to me, I mean, if there's even a possibility.
yeah,
Because the way it looks now, Freedom Square, it could be years till they're completed because of that. So if they can't even be able to finish something that's already approved and give the blessing, how can you possibly throw 76 more units on the same road at that?
Could I clarify a couple of
Yeah,
things,
go ahead.
just to make sure we're.
Thank you.
So, the Freedom Square, the conditional use plan is approved. The only other thing that has been officially approved is phase one.
Okay.
So, the remainder of the development is not approved as far as land development goes, it's just conceptually approved, and the zoning is approved. So, as Freedom Square builds out additional phases, they need to come back to the township for final plan approval for each one of those. So,
In that space, how many dwellings are in that first phase? That would be the one.
you're correct on the 167.
So we're back to, even if they don't have approval for anything else, they have 167 units that they can't now put in, they already have to work with the sewer authority
No,
to.
they can.
So we're good at that point.
They have sewer, they have reserved sewer for those 167.
If they go any larger, we would have to adjust.
I believe Mr. Pash has also reserved the remainder of the equivalent dwelling units that are left. I wanna say there's maybe 50 more that he reserved. He has enough currently reserved to build phase one and also to come in with phase two. Okay, which is basically just that upper right quadrant of the plan.
You see where I'm coming from then?
Yeah, no, but the way that it works is a developer can reserve capacity with the sewer treatment plant. They have to pay for those EDUs.
Sure.
Right now, there aren't any available. So for any future development to happen, that expansion project needs to go. So that's where Freedom Square is currently gonna be capped at phase one and potentially phase two, cause that's all they have sewer capacity for. So yeah, it's a hurdle for your development. There'll need to be additional capacity, which the sewer authority is working on the project. It's something that's on the authority's lap to do that expansion and.
I mean, just spitballing, Posh could take the remainder of his phases with these guys and then let them pay for all the sewer authority. And then us that don't live there or have anything to do with it wouldn't have to pay it via taxes. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Mike, what's your thought process long-term with traffic study?
Required by the ordinance.
Okay. If I were you folks, I would plan on providing some funds towards traffic improvements. We have been saddled with a small one here that the study says no impact. Here's another one, small but whatever, no impact. And what's happening is all those small items with no impact have created an impact. Right now, in the morning, it's not uncommon for traffic to back up from the stop sign at the Copenhagen and Susquehanna Trail to your driveway. I've seen it. And then you add school buses. So, I'll just make a bold statement. You're gonna help pay for a signal light at the end of the Copenhagen. Guaranteed. Yep. Go ahead. Yeah, I see James, I'll get to him. Yeah. So it's just a broad comment and, we've gotta stop taking the blunt of that traffic. Okay, James, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairperson. This is segueing off of the proposal here. Had conversation with people over the last month and a half or so, and something that came up was, somebody asked me, do they serve the current residents, or do they serve the future ones that aren't here yet? And they were referring to everybody on the boards, and this is where it segues. A lot of people think if any new development, any new building project comes in, it puts strain on our sewer and whatnot, and there has to be upgrades. If the new building, the new homes, the new complexes come in, aren't 100% guaranteed to cover any and all cost, so that the existing residents don't have to have their sewer bill go up, you've already passed their building project cost onto the existing residents. The new construction should have to cover it, so the existing residents who aren't adding to it aren't saddled with those costs.
I agree with that.
Thank you.
Do you folks have questions of us?
You have one more.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
First of all, I can rarely see that. Do you have handouts of what the proposal is?
Oh, this one's, you can read that out.
So have you already contacted the three property owners? In this proposal, 201, 255, 235 per acre?
Yes, we have.
You have. Did you consider any of the homes between those addresses? Have you contacted any of those people?
Yeah, I made an attempt to reach out to each one of those homeowners with one spots.
Because I am a homeowner there, 225,
Okay.
Brookhaven, which is right in front of, I think, 201, Rensselaer, right in my backyard. So I haven't had a conversation with you.
You should have received a letter initially when we started that process, because we said on you wanted to.
Now, how long ago was that?
4 months ago, maybe?
Well, let me just get on to that, correspondence, please.
Ma'am, if we had north on Conewago Road, are you just before just before 235?
On 225.
225, so it's 235, maybe just before,
So it's
if we're coming, you're coming up from,
Right.
yeah, come up this way, you're on the right. Would you rate to be just before 235?
I'm not sure which.
Okay, when you pass the driveway going back to 201, how many houses more are you?
Two.
Two, okay.
There's
Two-
two
two-
stories.
two-
I'm trying to look on the map here to
Yeah.
figure out which place.
So the two-story originally was the farmhouse to the barn that's in the time,
Yeah,
right? And then my house. So my lot was bought years ago, and then the newer house beside my house. That property, my property was subdivided into two. So mine's the older house.
give us your name again for the record, please.
Colleen Stahl, 225 Copenhagen. I own the property, my son lives there.
Last name?
Stahl, S-T-A-U-B.
Thank you.
So, you know, I'm really concerned because, you know, eventually I want to sell this house to him for my retirement, which I just started. So this doesn't feel good to me because I don't know how this is going to affect my property. Even though it's a small property, it's not easy to work. I also know what the traffic is like on Copenhagen Road. It's terrible, and it's getting worse because of all these developments around, okay? Schools, all these 76 units, how many families with children will be in those units? You know, our school district, have we done studies on schools, have we done studies on roads? Have we done all the pertinent studies besides the sewer and everything else? We can't afford another development in our community, period.
Okay, thank you. Mike, questions from us?
No, you have a list of comments in your report.
Okay,
We should have a survey soon. As you move the group and
okay.
either make a preliminary submission of some sort or not.
Well, ask real quick, consider the possibility of 55 and older living, since it seems to be becoming a need in this area more and more. That doesn't burden the school system.
It's fun. I used to think that was old, right? That's like, no, we haven't, that's an economic decision.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, there's nothing else on the agenda. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Second? All in favor, vote by saying aye. Those opposed? Okay, meeting's adjourned. Thank you all for coming. Dave, I'm sorry, I didn't see your left hand up there. We're good, my apologies.
I just wish to submit what I read in the official record.